Listening Fanfiction presents Someone Please Stop Lance by Titans Are Us, based off the DreamWorks series Voltron Legendary Defender. Narrated for you by CRVs. Karan comes in rubbing his hands together and says the words each paladin has learned to dread. Alright guys, we have a wonderful opportunity for you. Everyone groans. Yes, even Shiro. He does it just under his breath. That sentence means a training exercise. This training exercise will... Karan, give us a break! Lance drawls with his hands behind his head. Haven't we proved that we've had enough training? I mean, look at this muscle! What muscle? Oh, are you referring to that Pidge you're currently showing? That's not Pidge! Those are abs in the making! He covers his stomach defensively and glares at Keith. And stop hissing over there! Snickers continue to flow, even with the end pressed to Keith's mouth. Abs in the making, he wheezes. Well, not everyone is a training nut like you, Keith! But you still need some more gym time, Lance. Pidge plugs in. They hold out a fist for Keith to bump. And which he does. Good. Pidge and Hunks get Keith to socialize like a human being. Agenda is making progress. Anyway, besides Lance's lack of a workout routine, Shiro states over Lance's offended grumble. What do you have planned, Karan? Another team-building activity? Not exactly. It's true the bonds you have as a team has gotten much better. You form Voltron almost as easily as you breathe. The paladins beam at one another. But there are other bonds that need to be strengthened, such as those with your lions. What? Blue and I are tight. Lance points to himself. There's a reason why Blue and I were the first to connect. Sheer dumb luck? Silence, Pidge! So you say, but with our flight drills... You mean flight drills of death, Hunk mutters. Ahem. In our flight drills, only Shiro was able to see through his lion's eyes successfully. Karan grinds out. Well, sure, but Shiro is perfect. That doesn't count. Karan slaps a glove over Lance's face. Let me finish. Allura and I have strived to provide a rare opportunity to deepen your connection, where with magic and the extra energy provided by our ship's new crystal, the lions may take their original forms for a short time. Wait in the what now? Hunk says, what do you mean original forms? What? Did you just think the lions were always made of metal? Well, yeah, they form a giant robot after all, Keith says, matter of fact. Really? You think that we could just program the instincts and free will of such a majestic beast into a machine? Karan spews indignantly. Karan, please, it's not too much of a stretch. Shiro pacifies. Altane technology is incredibly advanced to us. It is. Karan breathes in through his nose. But the Voltron lions are extremely unique. They have souls. They chose to volunteer their very beings to the project of Voltron, even though they were some of the last Altane lions. Altane lions? Like actual real lions? Did they live with the Altanes? Were they truly different colors? Once Pidge starts, it's hard to make them stop. Finger by finger, Karan lists. Yes, they lived side by side with us as our intelligent equals until birth epidemics culled their population. Then, shaking off the morose expression, he grins. As for the last question, why don't you see for yourself? So Lance had totally paid attention when Allura and Karan gave the explanation on how this works. Something about astral projections, temporary body constructs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe he had paid more attention to how Allura's lips moved than the words that came out of them, but it's mostly all mumbo-jumbo to Lance anyway. Most things in space are... Give him a break. Or it could be just science and magic in general. That's why he leaves the smarty smart stuff to Pidge and Hunk, so he can be the brawn. Fine, not the brawn, but he's got freaking miles on common sense. Fake it until you make it, right? So he stands with the others as Allura does her neat glowing trick. Tries not to flinch at the flashing lights coming from their lions lined up all pretty in a row outside since, there's nowhere in the castle for them to all fit in the same room. Lance wonders, do the lions ever get lonely in their hangar? I mean, Lance would if every time they did a mission, the paladins would have to stay in their rooms until the next one. But none of his thoughts matter once Lance sees her. She's gorgeous! A rockin' body that probably comes up to his sternum. She has the prettiest dang eyes that stare back into his, and wow, Lance is just floored that this beauty would even give him the time of day. Lance is in love. So is the Blue Lion, which is why she tackles her paladin once the smoke clears, rubbing her furry blue head against Lance's over and over, happy to finally touch her paladin, her partner, her friend. Reducing Lance to babbling renditions of, "Baby, oh my sweet, sweet baby, you're so pretty. I mean, you're all pretty, but you, Blue, you're the prettiest. I can't believe you chose me. Why would you ever choose me? Blue, look at you. That's right. Who's the best lion? It's you. It's so you." Whoa. Shiro coughs into his fist. It doesn't look like those two need help getting reacquainted. The rest of the paladins and lions tear their eyes off of the touching scene to look at him. Perhaps the blue paladin was right. Karan strokes his mustache in thought. He and the blue lion appear to be very close. In fact, it doesn't look like their bond needs to deepen. At all. Then again, it is said that the blue lion is truly the friendliest of them all. Allura trails off. Should I be closing my eyes? I feel like this is something I should be closing my eyes to, Pidge says, noting that yes, their lions are the same colors as their namesakes. Just focus on your own lion, Pidge. Hunk ruffles Pidge's hair and holds out a palm to Yellow Lion, or else she'll get jealous. At least I think they're all girls. I don't see any manes on you. He frowned in thought until Yellow nudges his hand. Lance is sorta right, though. You're really pretty. And soft. But big! I think they're much larger than Earth lions. Pidge gulps as the green lion approaches her. The beast's height might be barely taller than her own. Nervous, Pidge goes still as the lion circles around her curiously. The huge body twisting to smell her backpack and then look to Pidge for answers. What's in there? Pidge guesses, and their link pulses in her mind. Seems like she's on the right track. Just one of my smaller projects. I'm experimenting if we can use one of the Galra crystal fragments without it corrupting the system it's plugged into. The green lion puffs in her face, and Pidge starts to get excited. But the real stuff is in the lab. Or I guess it's really your hangar. But would you like to see our projects more in detail? She senses an enthusiastic consent, and translating the green lion's questions becomes easier the further they pace away. Keith takes in the scene. Blue and Lance are becoming fused at the hip. Yellow has a new mission and jumps to push Hunk to a better height to groom him. Black Lion strides calmly to stand next to Shiro companionably. But the Red Lion doesn't even look at him. She even seems to be actively ignoring him. Hey, buddy, Keith tries. How are you doing? Red doesn't respond. Just walks past Keith and slumps to her belly. Ha! Keith's lion doesn't like him! Lance jeers from the ground, one arm over his lion's neck. Keith scowls, trying not to take it seriously. Lance is always running his mouth, but he can't stop the twinge in his chest. The blue lion of friendship doesn't appreciate such an unfriendly comment. She stands up and wiggles out of Lance's grasp. Wait, baby, I'm sorry, please don't go. The blue lion is halfway to Keith now. I didn't mean it. I'm just insecure. Blue, baby, come back to me. That's what you get for being a twat, Lance. Hunk says cheerfully at Lance's bemoaning form. Now, if you want her back, go apologize. But I did! He gestures to the traitor, who brushes against Keith affectionately and then settles next to the red lion. They hum and puff as if they're talking to another. They probably are. To Blue, sure, but is that really the person to apologize to? Hunk pokes him, and the yellow lion takes that as encouragement to increase her territory. 2 heads to lick are better than one. Ah, fine! Hunk, make her stop licking me! I have enough cow licks as it is! His escape is stopped by a paw that presses him more firmly to the ground. Let me up! Hunk taps his lion's nose to get her attention and then points to his own hair. Are you sure you're finished? The yellow lion is torn. The skinny one does severely need to be groomed, but her priorities should lie with her own human. Her head moves towards Hunk, giving Lance enough of an opening to slip away. Yellow jerks back to her lost prize, scurrying across the room and growls unhappily. She grooms Hunk a little more enthusiastically in response to this trick. Luckily, Hunk doesn't mind too much. A hot shower is on the schedule anyway. Sorry, dude, that was uncalled for. Lance delivers, not looking Keith in the eye. You've earned your lion just as much as the rest of us. No problem. Besides, you're probably right. Keith smiles wryly. She hates me. Nah, she's just like you. Antisocial and moody. Blue butts Lance's hip hard. I'm trying. Look, Keith. Lance attempts to be serious. Think about how you connected with her in the first place. Why don't you take Red to the training deck? What? Why? Keith asks, and the red lion gets to her feet. You're a show-off? She's a show-off. Keith and Red turn to glare at Lance in union. Maybe if you go and show off to her, you'll impress her enough to spark the bond between you. I don't know. Keith tilts his head to Red. She moves to the door and flicks her tail impatiently. But I guess it's worth a try. They leave to the sound of Lance's anguished screams as Blue works to finish the job Yellow started. Blue's pride is at stake here. Her paladin must be the best groomed in the castle. He must be. The mission fills Blue with determination. Training bot level 5. Keith orders, sweat running down his brow. There's salt on his lips and a staccato of hot blood rushing in his veins. It's been almost an hour now, and his lion is still not impressed. In fact, she looks bored. Head resting on her paws, eyes closed. Keith might suspect that Red's sleeping, but whenever he goes about 5 to 7 feet from the animal, it cracks open her eyes and growls. Frustration builds in the throat, and Keith wants to scream. Of course this was a stupid idea. It came from Lance of all people. Keith doesn't know what he was thinking listening to that guy. It just felt so good that Lance actually apologized for once. So of course it made his head all stupid and fuzzy. A slash comes too close, and Keith can feel the air displaced by the blade. It's time to focus. Forget Red. Forget being rejected. Forget not being good enough. Again, his teeth grind together as he forces the bot back enough to strike below its guard. Electronically, it deteriorates away immediately. It's not enough. Again, level 6. The drone comes quicker than before, and Keith grins. Maybe this will help him forget. There is a rhythm of hit, parry, strike, block, hit, parry, strike, block. He gets lost in the movements as the pattern gets faster and faster. A crash, the electronic buzz, and then a hoarse voice. Level 7. The grip starts to slip on the Bayard. Keith doesn't care. But he does when the drone knocks his weapon from hand. Suck. The fancy move sends the sword skidding across the training floor. Keith runs into a slide towards it. Can he get it before the bot attacks? The answer is no. The drone punts the weapon away from Keith's fingers that were right there, dang it, and holds up their weapon ready to nail Keith on the head. Oh, this is going to smart. The blow won't kill him. Karan ruthlessly rewired and tested the blasted program before letting Keith take one step onto the training deck. But wow, the thing can give the loveliest bruises Keith has ever seen. Keith squeezes his eyes reflexively and hears a furious roar. What? A metallic crunch has him cracking his eye to see Red? Red's fur fills his vision as the beast couches over the paladin, gnawing on the drone's arm. If she has a goal to rip off the bot's limb, Red's succeeding. Red is pissed. Keith can tell from the bond cracking a little more open between them. Pissed, but happy? Red growls around her mouthful, paws holding the drone in place while clawing grooves that screech. With the mass of her body, she bumps his shoulder towards his fallen Bayard, and Keith understands. He finally gets it. Keith can push himself as much as he wants. He can give it his all, but at the end of the day, he's Red's paladin. Red doesn't let her paladins fight alone. Besides an aunt, A team ambush is much more satisfying. He snatches up the Bayard and takes down that sucker. Stabbing it from the side, Red purrs when the machine collapses. So, Keith self-consciously bursts, do you want to take on level 8? Through their mental connection, Red sends image after image of the two happily destroying machinery together. Keith can't help but break into a smile. Well, kitty, let's make that a reality. And they do. Karan is gonna be mad for days. There's no shred of doubt Black Lion is the leader of the 5. The impression persists as the lioness walks proudly beside Shiro as they slowly collect their paladins and pride members one by one. Her dark fur glistens under the fluorescent lights. Each step is confident, and the way the bond hums between them is sure. Their time in these forms is running out. A soft rumble to blue and yellow has them comply with instructions to return outside. They even relayed the message to Keith and Red in the hallway. Or really, the memo was for Red smugly dragging along her barely conscious paladin. His feet trail behind them awkwardly, but her teeth press firm in Keith's jacket as if she's holding a cub's ruff. When Shiro offers to take him, all he gets is a defensive snarl. So, I'm gonna take that as a no, he remarks, amused, as they watch Red pull Keith down the hall. Meet you outside. All that's left is Pidge, huh? He says, rubbing the cold metal plate of his arm. The ridges are small, creating patterns for the joints, but if he pressed hard enough, he could draw blood. A memory flashes of Red under his nails, scratching, pulling at the thing. It's wrong, unnatural, it needs to come off. Get it off of me! Bio fills his throat as the static panic punches him from memory lane. Shiro violently shakes his head. It's just a memory, it doesn't matter, this is not the time. A warmth presses against his side. A tentative question fills his mind, and Shiro looks down straight into Black's eyes. It's nothing, just my inadequacies acting up. He shrugs nonchalantly. Come on, Pidge's lab is just this way. But Black Lion just presses harder at his ribs, forcing him to take a step to the side. What are you doing? Black snorts and corrals her paladin against the wall. He's not going anywhere. She repeats her question. This time it feels more like an order than a request. I'm fine, really. Black waits patiently. It's just, this arm is really useful. The technology is incredible. It moves well, and thanks to it, we can even hack Golra's systems. He pauses. I should be grateful that it's not a stub. That at least there's something there. Black hums encouragingly. But I hate it, Black. The sentence ends in a whisper. Shiro swallows and closes his eyes. Every time I see it, I feel like I'm still their thing, their experiment, their champion. Black growls deep in her throat. Her human needs to focus on her. Focus on the now. She pushes her head underneath the prosthetic and gives a new command. Obeying, Shiro begins to pet between her ears. The motion is rather soothing. Without this arm, we wouldn't have our advantage we need over the Golra. But I can't. I'd give it up in a second to get the real thing back. Isn't that just pathetic of me? Shiro spits out. Black shows her disagreement, depicts scenes to Shiro of licking a wound, watching it heal, seeing it scar. It's a slow process, but Shiro's knees weaken with the waves of admiration and pride emitting from the lion. But Black has no problem supporting his weight. It's kind of nice to be comforted like this, to be weak once in a while, and for it to be okay. I don't remember much of my time with them. It's mostly a blur, but I do remember being alone, angry, and scared in the dark. Space was an empty, lifeless end to me then. He opens his eyes, countenance a little brighter. It's funny, but it doesn't feel like that anymore. Not when I'm with you and our team. No, our family. Purring, Black twists up to press their forehead against his. She puffs in approval, and a laugh escapes from the paladin. Thanks for being here for me. He pushes lightly, and reluctantly Black allows Shiro to move from the wall. If it were up to her, she would make him stay there until her paladin lost the smell of burnt metal and pain. But time is short. Shiro gives her skull one last rub. Now let's get the rest of our pride. When Pidge's hanger swishes open, Shiro and Black let out an unprofessional coo. Oh, that's freaking adorable. Pidge sprawls half reclined on Green Lion's back, absolutely passed down, her glasses barely hanging off the tip of their nose. She must have been working before dozing off because a computer hums in her lap. It's a shame to wake her. It's so rare for her to sleep in plain sight. But Shiro crouches down beside the pair. Pidge, it's time to get up. He shakes her shoulder gently. Pidge's forehead creases, but the paladin doesn't fully stir. The green, curled around Pidge, whines. Do they have any idea how long it took to get her human a rest? It took several maneuvers to put her paladin in a state of warm drowsiness. Out of all the lions, Green has had the chance to observe her paladin the most. How brilliant the cub is, and yet how they tend to run themselves into the ground! Green Lion is not pleased. Her tail flashes back and forth. Shiro tries again. Pidge, Katie, it's time for the lions to go. Green, she has to wake up. Please stop looking at me like that. Green Lion bats his knee and sulks. What's going on? Pidge stretches the last word in a yawn. They straighten their glasses and gaze blurrily at Shiro. Shiro smiles and extends their hand for Pidge to take. The lions need to let go of their astral forms. I would let you sleep, but I think you'd rather be there when they do. The Green Lion grumbles, even with Black coming to nudge her from her position. At least she's gained the data she needs to replicate the results. Next time in the cockpit, Green will adjust the temperature and purr accordingly. In addition, Green can guard her pilot without these nuisances. It will have to be an acceptable alternative. Oh, thanks for getting me. She lets Shiro help them up, but she overcompensates, falling into... Wow, Shiro's chest is solid. What is he, a rock? It's not the best pillow to be sure, but it's still really... Okay, Pidge, don't go there. Sorry, she mumbles. Naps make me groggy. It's okay, Shiro says, bemused, and motions for the door. Well, any idea to stop Lance from melting into a puddle with blue? Pidge grins. I'm sure I can think of something. What happened to you? You look like you were mauled by a can opener. Do you really want to start with physical appearances, helmet head? Keith gestures to Lance's head, absolutely soaked, but not a hair out of place. Blue's end result is better than imagined. She is the supreme groomer. Yellow Lion must be rolling with utter jealousy with the rebellious strand that still pokes from Hunk's head. Yellow is not. She's rolling because her paladin gives the best scratches. She will keep this human until the day she's destroyed. Blue, honey, I want you to know that I will always love you. Blue purrs in agreement. Even if I can't pet your luscious fur anymore and can only go inside of your ginormous metal body, I will always love you. Lance, Shiro warns. You're making the team uncomfortable again. I don't care, Shiro! Let me properly say goodbye! Lance, she's not going anywhere. She just needs to let go of that astral projection. But I'll never get to hold her in my arms again, Shiro! How can you be so heartless? Lance dramatically sobs, partly joking. But he is going to miss this. He hugs her neck tighter. Lance, let go of the lion. Now. No! Blue comforts Lance with scenes of them flying together while Pidge and Hunk pry his fingers one by one off her body. They're enjoying this too much. The sadists! Pidge, the dirty cheat, jabs him in the stomach and Hunk grabs him under the arms. Come on, guys! Is this really necessary? Yes, says Hunk and Pidge in unison. Blue trots back to the others, already lined up in a row, but sends Lance one last image. It's of them in a giant pile in the common room, followed by the feeling of anticipation. Hey, Corinne! Lance relaxes with a smirk. Walt! Corinne says absent-mindedly, watching the lines blaze as Princess Allure releases their projections to return to gear and metal. When can we do this training exercise again? End of Someone Please Stop Lance by Titans Are Us. If you enjoyed this recording or the content, feel free to leave a comment below or a review at the original story from the link in the descriptions. Thank you for listening.